All right, today let's talk about delegating work and tasks so that frees up time for you to think about big picture stuff or big vision or what's actually the bigger issue going on in your business or what is the green frog or the big rock that you need to tackle. You've got to start delegating things so that you can focus on that. Here's an example. A few years ago, I hired a lawn company to mow my lawn. That frees up an hour and a half every single week where I can sit there and focus on big picture stuff, or I can shoot a video like this, or I can edit a video, or I can figure out how to have more calls with my contractors and talk bigger picture things, right? It's about finding time within your day, and it doesn't always have to be within your work. It can be within your day. So for me, my example was mowing the lawn. It took an hour and a half every week. Now I have that back. Now I can use that to focus on bigger picture stuff. Or let's take, for example, a bookkeeper, right? You got to hire somebody to do your books. And some of them out there, it could be like $300 a month. How much time do you actually spend doing your books? Like if you actually calculated that, you would go bonkers, because the amount of time and hours that you spend trying to figure out where this fee or this expense goes into this category and then puts it in that list, and then your P&L gets printed out, and then you got to like all of that chaos. If you spend hours on hours on hours doing that, where somebody could just spend their time and you pay them $300, that is so much more value in your pocket. You have to start thinking about like, ooh, well, that was $300. That's expensive. I don't know what I can do. If I had $300 extra, would I use that for a bookkeeper? The answer should be yes and yes, even before you had an extra $300, because the $300, the time saved of hiring a bookkeeper, allows you to maybe go get another bid, maybe go work on another project, maybe go do another estimate for a client that you didn't have the time for because you were too busy doing books, right? Like that one client could have led you to 3 more clients because of referrals or whatever it is. Like you got to start thinking that the $300 isn't really an expense. I mean, yes, it is an expense. Your bookkeeper is going to tell you an expense, but it's more of an opportunity value add. So you're freeing up time, which puts you out in the field, which gives you more at bats, which gives you more opportunities to grow your business and bring bigger income. So you got to stop thinking about that. Another example would be, I know I talk about marketing because it's a past life of mine, whatever, but like pay somebody a couple $100 a month just to manage your marketing. And that way you don't have to do it. You can do a 15-minute check on and then that's it. And you don't actually have to spend time and hours and whatever figuring out how to set up a campaign and check your keywords and is this the right radius targeting and all that chaos. You can let somebody else do that, which frees you up to focus on big picture stuff. And if it isn't, I can go get more bids, or I can go talk to more clients, or I can work longer at my project, or whatever that is. It could even be maybe that hour or hour and a half or hours allows me to put my head and pen and paper down to think about, where do I want to go with my goals? Where do I want to go with this company? What is my vision? How can I get there? It might free up time for you to like clear your mind to think about the big picture stuff, because the big picture stuff is where you ultimately want to go, and that's ultimately how you're going to grow. I talk about this in another video, but like you have to start thinking like a $5 million company if you're a 500K company. You got to start thinking about where you want to go and how do you reverse engineer that. Giving tasks to people and delegating work to people is going to free up that time for you to focus on big picture, big growth, big things. Now, if $300 sounds expensive for a bookkeeper or a marketing person or whatever you want to do or whatever you want to delegate out, think about how can you just build that into your next job. Can you add $300 to your next project? If you're a bathroom model, kitchen remodel, windows, something like $300 is not a lot of money in the big scheme of things. And you think about the value of the opportunity that you now have to focus on the big picture stuff, it just makes sense. I talk a lot about scared money don't make money. And that's a saying that goes out there all the time. And I see this with contractors where you're afraid to spend because money's tight, but doing that really kind of shrinks your thought process, shrinks your bubble, shrinks your like expansion mindset. It really just like brings everything in and makes everything tight, and then eventually you fizzle out. Scared money don't make money. So think of the cost that it's going to cost to pay somebody to mow your yard, or whatever the thing is, scoop your driveway, whatever that is, do your books. Think about that cost of, that's an opportunity cost. That is actually $300 a month to go from, let's say, 500K a year to $1 million, because I figured out how to do that by not mowing my yard once a week. That is a crazy value. I really encourage you to spend 15 minutes tonight or tomorrow morning or whenever you're watching this video and just write down opportunities that you see that where you could delegate something. And maybe you might even find something that doesn't cost you any money, but then you gain money and value by freedom, right? Isn't that the ultimate game anyway? I encourage you to do it. I encourage you to start thinking this way. I encourage you to find ways to get your time back, where you can either spend time with friends and family or big value, big picture kind of stuff. If you like what you heard or watched, subscribe to me at Contractor Worldland, and I'll see you on the next video.